Congratulations to Bill Morrell for winning the giveaway. I thought I'd give a little update of where I'm at on the Gypsy. I did take a little break from it, so let some paint dry. And I got the fuselage completely finished. And I started to do the wings today, and there wasn't quite enough clear on them. So I coated them with a coat of clear, brushed on, actually 2 coats. And I really can't sand it as of yet. It's still too fresh. It doesn't powder off. It's only been a few hours. So we're going to set this aside. And I'm going to paint this week. We'll set that aside. I'm going to take my Thunderbolt down and look at it. It's been sitting a couple of days now. Been working on other projects back and forth. And it's kind of tough that my shop is so small that I can't leave, these projects out. Like, I could only wish to have a shop like Tom's. That would be phenomenal. But I think my little shop here is about 150, maybe 160 square foot. 12 foot by 12 foot is 144 by 3 more. Yeah, it's about 160 square feet. And I can't really complain. It's better than nothing. It's going to be time to take out the trash again. My shelf fell down underneath the bench, so I've got all the paint cans. Well, this Chinese stuff is absolute junk. I can't make anything. Got to rebuild it. So, shake this off, get the dust off. Let's see how the Thunderbolt looks after sitting for a day. Of course. Now I gotta go through that business. Yeah, we won't worry about that right now. Oh, that looks so much better than what I have been working on. I can't explain to you how important it is to do each step to completion. It took virtually no time to bring this up to a finish from the state where I was, because each part was finished. I didn't have to refinish anything. So this is not going to be much of an instructional video. It's more just an update of where I'm at on the Gypsy. We're going to paint that this week, maybe tomorrow, depending on if I can get that. If the clear is going to be dry enough to sand out on the wings. Like, this is absolutely smooth. I do have a couple of little dingers there that I'm going to fill. So we can do that now. There we go. I'm going to have to order another tube of this green, acro green putty. I like this stuff. It's as long as you don't use a lot of it. Just use it very sparingly. Good stuff. Heavy, but it's good stuff. I think the drill for tonight is going to be the cockpit. If I get the cockpit area painted, detailed, and the pilot glued in, I can put the canopy on. And that's all you really want to use. You don't want to use much of this stuff. So, let's do that. Let's work on the cockpit. I have another canopy that I'm going to be using. I just basically use this one for fitment. It got a few little dings on it. I mean, you could probably use this. There's only a couple little imperfections in it. But I really wanted the Thunderbolt to be extra nice, so I figured that I'd get another one. So I'm going to have to dig out the paint brushes because we're going to do the detail on the cockpit. I need a piece of paper so I can make a dashboard because we're going to have to transfer that from the computer to a piece of wood. And I need to make up a stick, a yoke, and a gun sight. There's a few things that need to be made, so I think it's going to be just tinkering with this. I don't think I'm going to run the video too much. Unless you guys want me to. I mean, I have no problem with this, leaving the video run. The only thing that bothers me is that if I leave the video run, you guys get bored with this stuff and then won't watch these movies. So that's why I'm trying to make them fun. What do you think of the Thunderbolt startup that I found? That's perfect right there. That's exactly how you want it. We're going to paint this in the next week or so. I think this probably will be ready for broad action maybe this season. I'd really like to fly this airplane in fun scale. And the reason being is I can take this airplane, fly stunt. Well, that's a dilemma. I can take my Continental and fly classic and stunt, or I can take this airplane and fly stunt and sport scale, or fun scale. And then I'm taking my shoestring for sport scale. So, I don't know, too much going on. Because as it works now, I can take the radio out of the other airplane and put it in this airplane and control the throttle. So that was my plan, to have a dual-purpose stunt and scale airplane. It's is it scale? Absolutely not. Cartoon scale. But I didn't design it. It's neat, and they do fly pretty good. See if it didn't get any lighter. So I'll cut the camera, and I'm going to figure out some ways to get the cockpit ready to go. We might come back when I do some cockpit airbrush and detail and some things. I really like the way Don Rice does his videos, and I don't know. I might try to do some things like Don does. The only problem is he has more room, and his projects are much bigger than mine. It's a very small shop and a very small area. But I had made those side panels for this, where the throttle quadrant goes and the flaps. I don't like them. I vacuum formed them, if you remember, earlier on in the Thunderbolt series. I'm not going to look them up. I vacuum formed some pieces. I'm going to go ahead and make them out of 16th inch balsa wood and put those in here. And I still need to put some epoxy in my pilot glasses. I have to go down and get a toothpick. So there's a lot of little tinkering things to do, but it's coming. It's coming. I'm real happy with it. It didn't turn out real bad. It's going to be just a matter of how fanatical do I want to take it. You know, some of these guys, for anybody who has never been to the Nationals and really looked at the front row airplanes, Ted Fancher, Paul Walker, Doug Moon. Well, Doug hadn't been on the front row, but his last airplane was definitely worth it, I thought. You know, all the good builders, there's a couple of things they all have in common. The attention to detail. And I'm going to be judging appearance at the Nationals this year. And I'll be looking for that attention to detail. And to me, it just kind of stands out. Hopefully we get some good movies this year at the Nationals. I look forward to that trip every year, and since I started going to Brodax, I really look forward to Brodax every year as well. Brodax is just a great time. Okay, let's see if we got those little dingers fixed. Alright, I would imagine. Yep. Now if you look how easy this covers, I mean, it takes, there's not going to be a whole lot of sanding on this. It's ready to go as is. So I mean, I could just paint it with dope and we wouldn't have too much of a problem. But I want to make sure that I have those few problem areas that I had. I'm probably going to hit that again. Well, I shot a little bit of primer on the wings. This is one super light coat of primer on here. And I do mean there is hardly any primer on it. Less than a half a can on all the wings and the elevator stabilizer. And that's from doing what I said about making sure each piece is ready to finish before you go on. So now the trick is, I haven't got to the cockpit yet, and I probably should do that, but what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of knocking it off to see if we have any other imperfections that we might need to fix. Like, there's a little spot right here that, you know, you probably could fix that if you wanted to. I'm not sure that I will need to. I mean, how perfect does it have to be? But what I'm showing here is the difference between a prepared model, getting it ready to paint, than starting with something that's not ready to paint and try to doctor it up at the end of the job. So I kind of want to emphasize how important it is to complete each task to the best of your ability, because it's only going to be easier at the end. So within a matter of just a few minutes, and not even a minute or two, we have one panel done. That's ready to paint. And as I stated, there's a little spot right here, and I'll probably shoot a drop of primer on that and sand it once more. Big difference though in getting this ready to go and my other projects that I'm working on. That's it. That's one wing sanded out. And trust me, when I put the gray paint on there, that will cover just beautifully. It'll take, I bet it doesn't take 3 ounces of paint. 3 fluid ounces of paint to paint this whole airplane gray, because we're going to start with gray. The biggest thing when you're using this DC540 Z-Epoxy finishing method is to get the primer off. We're gonna sand this several times. I mean, I just quickly sanded it out. But if you'll notice, I might even get the camera and hold it in my hand. Matter of fact, I'll do that. Can we see it? Not really. Yeah, right here. See, you see how it's light right in through here? You want the whole airplane. We're going to sand all the primer until you can just start to see through it, just like that. And I'll see if I can hold this and we'll sand it real quick here. I mean, there is no primer on this whatsoever, really. We don't want any primer. You know, if you're carrying around primer, you're carrying around a lot of extra weight. So we want to get that basically all sanded off and have it real smooth. And as I said, there's less than a half a can on the wings. I'd say a quarter of a can. Plug this back in. Having a heck of a time with this. Okay, that'll have to do right there. Anyway, so now we'll turn it around on this side and do this. And when I say, I just dusted the primer on, and it's ready. You wouldn't even have to sand it, really. But I want to get all the weight off of it. remember how, if you go back and look at how the Thunderbolt was done, the skins were sanded with 320 while they were on the bench. They were put on absolutely smooth, sanded with a block. The tissue was then put on. It was sanded with 320, then 600. And then the dope, this was before it's in the airplane. And the wing was ready to put in the airplane, and this is what you have. You know, you're ready to... The dope was done in the cradle. And I'm hoping that the that it's coming through on the video. I kind of doubt it. It just... So we've got it with 320 here. I'm going to switch up to 400 and hit it. And then be ready to paint. Now, of course, I'm going to doctor it up some more. I'm not going to let this... I mean, I could paint it, but I'm not going to let it go till it's absolutely perfect. Even though I'm not flying in this year's NASA, I would want a front row airplane. Especially when you have, I got 4 months in this one. Yeah. That looks pretty good. So, break out the 400, and I have a special foam block that's very pliable. I'll fold this in thirds. I know I said I was going to cut the camera and we're going to go to the instrument panel, but I kind of just wanted to do this to see how it was going to come out. So anyway, we went to 400 now, and now we're on a soft foam block. And of course I will go over the whole airplane, fuselage included, and we'll be sanding that primer down until we can see through it. And fixing any of the imperfections as we go. There might be one there, I'm not sure. So let's see what it looks like when we prime it again. And I'll turn it over and do the other side. I think that's going to be nice. Blow it off a little bit. Very nice. Oh, I see a little dinger right there. This step right here, what I'm doing, kind of takes the place of Wendy's silver. But I hate silver because it has very, very poor adhesion properties. And every time I painted the airplane silver, the paint has pulled up. So, that's it. I'm pretty happy with that. Do the other side. And it doesn't, I mean, I could fly it right now. Because it doesn't need to be finished, we could just glue the, the flaps on and go fly it. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share my videos like I keep telling you guys. We're growing. The minute I can hit that 1,000 mark, I'll send some letters and see if we can't get some merchandise. You want to see a good finisher? Jim Lynch, Charlie Reeves. Both them guys are good finishers. They've helped me considerably. I was okay, but I needed a little guidance, and Jim Lynch helped me along the way with that. So for that, I thank him. All right. What's going to happen now after this coat, I mean, this is more or less just a protective coat, and trust me guys, I have not been working on this off camera. You're looking at exactly what it took to paint because the surfaces were prepared and ready to go. I didn't have to rebuild resand and shape everything. We're up to, I think I'm on my third can of primer here for the whole airplane. 2 cans on the fuselage and 1 on the wing so far. And with a little careful sanding, you can do the same thing. That's the DC 540 by Napa. This is the best product that I have found, bar none. I mean, people swear by zinc stearate and baby powder and all sorts of other things. This is light, easy to use, and super fast. And I haven't run across the paint that it's not compatible with yet. If you're going to use this on metal, make sure you use self-etching primer first. I don't think the chemicals in this are hot enough to etch it, but see. If you scrape sand or remove old paint, you may release lead dust. Lead is toxic, yeah. Prime bare metal with chlorine. Protect adjacent surface from overspray. 2 minutes after ball starts, blah blah blah. Doesn't say what's in it. Makes your hands tingle, so if you're allergic to chemicals, wear gloves. Because I think there's xylene in it. That's a real nice one spot there. It's going to be a nice airplane, trust me. So that's basically all I'm going to do on the top of the airplane. We're going to come back. I'll flip it over. We'll do the bottom. I mean, this airplane will be ready to go. Oh, just a couple more settings. This will get painted this week for sure. It's that close. It's not like I have to do hundreds of hours of paint prep to get it ready. We're gonna float some putty in that spot right there. All right. What I've been doing is I'm getting ready to detail the interior of the cockpit. And you want this cockpit to be as realistic as possible because it really doesn't cost you any weight. So we have the pilot here, and he has some lenses as you see here, but they don't look real. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some epoxy, some 5-minute epoxy, and it doesn't take much, so you don't have to mix a whole pile of it, and a toothpick. And you get one chance. Everything's one chance with this model airplane stuff. So you get some epoxy on a toothpick. We're going to hold him down here. And we're going to dab the epoxy into where the lenses go. And kind of move it around. What we're doing is we're making the lens. You certainly don't want to screw this up because first off, this pilot is very expensive. I thought it was very expensive for what it is. Now I could do 2 at a time, but I don't think I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna do just the one because I don't want to. We'll only have a few minutes extra wait time. I don't want to chance spilling the epoxy over on his face or helmet or whatever. What I'm doing here is I've had quite a bit of epoxy. I'm taking some of it out of the lens so it's not bubbling up super huge. And there we go. We'll just hold that right now, kind of flow it back and forth so it levels out. And what that'll do in the cockpit is it gives it a different texture. It looks like glass. Instead of just being painted flat black, it'll be shiny. I know, it's a little fanatical. I'm also going to take some silver and ring that white stripe. I'm hoping you can see it over my shoulder here. I'm going to ring that white stripe in silver. This pilot is, it's quite detailed actually. Yeah, I probably could get by and do another one, another lens, but I think we're just going to wait. Just babysit this for a few minutes and we'll talk about what's going on the forum. You know, some people think that I have control or I delete threads or whatever. I'm not the only guy that can delete threads on the forum. So just because a thread disappears doesn't mean that I turned it off or pulled it. Somebody else, one of the other moderators, I operate a crew that I don't question. Whatever they did is okay by me. And you know, I'm not going to micromanage each little thing, who said what, who did what. If the other moderator feels that you said or did something outside the realm of the forum rules, hey, that's all right by me. And I'm sorry if you get slighted by it, but I can't micromanage this. There just is no way that I can. Okay, is it dry yet? It is dry. Okay, feels like I might have a little epoxy on his jacket there. Let's do the other one. It only takes a dot. I mean, it's so very little epoxy, it's ridiculous. 2 little dots, about the size of 2 BBs. And we'll do this one. I've been waiting to do this before I glued him in. I wanted to make sure to get the final details done on the pilot. I don't know. This is getting to be like an obsession, I guess. It doesn't have to be. It does not have to be that detailed. I just wanted this particular Thunderbolt even better than the last one. So now let's let that dry right there. I think that should be good. And then I'll see if I can get a close-up of what his glasses look like with lenses in it, instead of just flat painted on. That pilot was $20. It's plus shipping. That's a pretty healthy bit, if you ask me, for a pilot. Now, it has some spots in it where the paint has been weathered off, but I don't think I'm going to fix those. He looks more looks more used or whatever. And if somebody's standing that close to your airplane, that's too close anyway. Somebody can see that kind of detail. You're breathing too hard. At Harley Davidson, we had a paint rule. Now this is no kidding. You can ask Wayne Wiley, you can ask anybody in the Harley business. People would say, look at that imperfection in the tank. And if I couldn't see it from 3 foot away, that's it. It's the 3 foot rule. You know, we're not building mirrors. I mean, them guys on Harleys, they would say, what are we going to do about that piece of dust? Hey, forget it. That's what you do. What really gets me is these Harley guys would whine about a little speck of dust, and within 1 week, that bike would be flipped on the ground and have all kind of scars and road rash on the tank, handlebars, on the mufflers. You know, it's a tool. It's going to get used. It's not going to be a show bike. Not only that, it's just like the other 500,000 Harleys out there. It ain't nothing special. Okay, we got a little silver here. This is our silver that we're going to use for mixing our custom gray. Seems to me like I'm going to have to add a little thinner because that's extremely thin. Now, speaking of thinner, if you're going to use Randolph products or Sig products, or use a good thinner. This thinner here is $50 a gallon. That is ridiculous, that price. But the difference between $50 a gallon thinner and $17 a gallon thinner is amazing. Okay. Let's hope that this mixes up. This silver is probably 20 years old. Oh yeah, brought it right back to life. Gonna have to shake it for a bit, so I'll shake and talk. I also have some pearls around here and some other things, but I have found that the way that I do this gray is probably the best metallic looking that I've seen. I mean, I really like it. Now we're going to try to paint around those frames. And I do mean try, because it's... I'm going to take a toothpick, fresh one, don't need one with epoxy on it. That epoxy ain't quite dry, but should be okay. Dip it in there and drop it off. Might take a couple coats. I also want to get his buckles here. We're going to do this this filler. This is the, on the May West, this is the filler that blows it up, so we want to make sure that was metallic. And we're going to try to go around the outside of this frame here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but you definitely want to try to not make mistakes. That looks pretty good. We're just trying to tone down that white, because obviously it wasn't white. Might have a slight problem to fix. Better wait until that epoxy's completely dry. To find my scalpel, I guess. Ah, alright, got it out of there. Must have been a hair or something. Good. I'm not sure you guys can see what I'm doing. It's so delicate. I don't have a cameraman or anything that can help me zoom in on this. Well, it ain't bad. It ain't the best, but Don Typod, that's the guy who could really paint pilots. Bob Hunt sells that video that the man has passed away, but he's a really good pilot painter. Or was. Okay. So now we have a buckle here that was metallic. Seat belt. Like I say, this is a little overboard. I mean, it's only a stunt plane. And we got a buckle up here on his shoulder, so we'll do that. All it is basically a color change to busy up the object. Because it's already gray, it's very hard to see the difference between gray and silver. Okay, that's about all I'm going to do there. I mean, like I said, you could drive yourself nuts with all this tinkering. When I was a kid, we used to go to the Pomona Fair. And I don't know if it was because I was a kid or because they were really good. And I was always remember the figurines that were painted by hand there. They're just very intriguing. And really impressive to me, but I was a kid. I don't know whether they were good or not, if I could do it or not. I don't know in the light if this is going to look okay, or, you know, I have no clue. But certainly can't hurt it. So there you have it. There's our pilot. About as best I can do, I guess. I think I'm going to get some brown and touch up these little spots. I'm also going to, when I glue him in, I'm going to have to wait for it to dry because I have to make a base plate now for him. When I glue him in, because we're gluing a pilot onto a flat floor, I think I'm going to draw some legs on him and paint his legs on the floor. So it appears that he has 3 dimension. I don't want him sitting on top of the floor. So, I don't know. Let me zoom in and see if we can see him with this camera here. I guess it's zoomed in all the way. Looks pretty good. But I'm going to set him down. We're going to shut the video off. I'm going to put all 3 of these together. We've got the airplane hanging back up on the wall. I got to work on the gypsy some more. get it ready for tomorrow to paint. Blue fuselage, white wings, or they're silver, but we're going to do them in light gray. And worry about my Thunderbolt later. I'm going to work on the dashboard and all that other business. It's going to be, that airplane's going to be mid-60s with the battery. It's just the way it is. I'm adding 10 ounces of battery, 10.5 ounces of battery. So we're at 50 ounces right now without the battery, so there's 60, plus the 2 or 3 ounces of paint that's going to go on it. Mid-60s. It's just the way it is. All up, ready to fly, though. Anyway, till I see you again, fair winds, tight lines. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and join Stunt Hanger. That's www.stunthanger.com.